Hello, all, and good morning, and happy to welcome all of you to yet another session of our Saturday webinar of GHRC. Today, we have our member, Ms. Srividya Nagaraju, who will be taking up the session with us. GHRC is a community platform for students, professionals, people managers, HR professionals, startups, and corporates with the guiding principles of connectivity, learning, and growing. Through our saying that, as you know, Mr. Srikanth Arimanithaya, Mr. Ramesh Ranjan, and S.V. Nathan are our co-founders. And the vision of global HR community is fulfilling purpose, pursuing passion, and optimizing potential. Our USP is holistic development, bottoms-up approach, and building a life career portfolio. What's in it for me and how do I do it? This is by connectivity, forging an approach, a meaningful relationship in the global network, learning, sharing your expertise, contributing, develop a well-rounded professionalism, and grow through the community. And also, as you all know, in our community, we have the forums and committees which we are forming right now. It's about 1 month old and probably will shape up very shortly. And what we are looking at is develop a two-way communication with our community members, wherein we encourage them to be a part of the platform. It can be in any way. It can be, contributing to the committee, or it can be by participating in our programs, just like Srividya is doing right now. So this is what we are looking at. And let me give you a little introduction of Srividya. In fact, she doesn't need much introduction. She's been, we've having a very good response for her program. So Srividya is a learning facilitator in Indic wisdom enthusiast as well, and an international TED speaker, alumna and guest faculty in IIMB, psychologist, corporate leadership coach, international award winner of Women's Achiever Award, and interviewed by the international TV and radio channels with a 28 years of rich experience. As a corporate trainer, Srividya has extensive experience in creating and delivering training modules focused on leadership, team building, women leadership, diversity, and POSH. Her work emphasizes on transformational change through insightful and humanized learning. Srividya's TEDx talk, Shakti, the Feminine Power, exemplifies her commitment to empowering individuals through exploration of inner strength and resilience. So without further ado, we move on to Srividya.
Thank you so much, Harish and Shubha, for such a warm, lovely introduction. Namaskar, everyone, and welcome to this session. I'm very honored to be here. It's my definitely pleasure and privilege also to talk to such learned group here. It's always interesting because interesting questions will come that helps me also learn more. We are all in the learning journey. So I don't want to that's why I call myself an enthusiast, not an expert, because expertise means you have to, there's so much. So we are all in the journey and I'm very, very happy to start this session. Let me start the session with first expressing my deep gratitude to all my mentors and gurus who have helped me to be who I am today. And let's all take a 30-second silent prayer with whatever we believe in nature to ensure we get the required energy to learn in this session. And whatever is required, we need the internet, we need everything. So let's take a moment to express our prayers to everything before we start. Thank you. Thank you. Allow me a few seconds to share my screen and then we get started. Can someone confirm that you're able to see my screen? And it's in the slideshow mode?
Yes, we do.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much. These are some basic checks I have to do, not assume. Okay, welcome to this management through Indic wisdom. What exactly that means. So we will start first with the question of why. Why should we even learn? Why learn Indic wisdom? Why we have so much of learning from the West, which are very good, no doubt about it. But why should we learn from our Indic wisdom? While there were questions about all the little myths about it, so why should we learn? So there is one beautiful saying called Vyaso Chittam Jagat Sarvam. The meaning is the entire word is but. As you see already on the screen about the Vyasa. Vyasa is known as the original Guru. In fact, next month we are celebrating Guru Purnima, where symbolically on that day we show our respect to all our teachers and gurus, which is in 21st July, if I'm right. So what it says, so everything is there. If he said everything, Jagat means in the world, whatever is happening is already mentioned by Vyasa. So this itself is a good reason why we need to go and look into it. It's just not personal, professional, all angles, whether you name any area of life, you will find an answer to that, or a situation, challenge, solution, everything is there. So this itself is one of the things which inspired me to go deep into it. I'd heard this from my childhood, but I'd never paid attention. Now, as an adult, being in the learning field, I said, if everything is there, why am I not even looking into it? And that's how my journey also started. So there is nothing under the sun that Vyasa has not touched or mentioned, or everything what he's already said is a simple meaning is that. So this could be a strong reason why we should. Another reason, somebody were asking, right? So we always think, spirituality means there is no materialism. You have to give up materialism if you have to go into the path of spirituality. Absolutely no. Our scriptures say materialism and spirituality are the two sides of the same coin. So then one will support the other. It is not, it is more supportive than deviating from your goals or whatever the materialistic goals are. So that itself another reason why, because there is a myth. So I thought I'll clarify these. And then the third reason, what in my programs, when I bring, there's a lot of people have a question, are people able to accept it? Will they have a challenge in this? Because assuming it is confusing to religion, when I narrate through stories and references, people are able to connect both at intellectual and emotional. Both head and heart are able to get connected because there are stories which you've heard from our childhood. So, there is always that emotional connect. And of course, learning is an intellectual connect. So this is the best of both. So that is another third reason why we should learn from our own wisdom. There are multiple other reasons, but I'm just brought in three important reasons which inspired me to bring this learning. Now let's get into what exactly it is. Right? So first is a why and standard golden rule. Why, what, and then how. So why is done. Now let's move to the what. So this is a little architecture of our scriptures. We have heard all these words, but how does it work? So this is something I want to give credit to the Joyful Vedanta. That's a website where I've taken the picture and also the specific learning from there. So I'm sharing that here. So this is first layer starts with Vedas. There were initially Vedas came up. And Vedas has two parts. One is the mantras, and the other one is the Upanishad, which is actually the philosophy, the learning. So there are two parts. So that was too complicated for everyone to understand. So then somebody said, let's little more simplified. That's where the sutras came. There are a lot of sutras for every different aspects of life. I'm not going to go into details of all this, but just to say, and then the Smriti came. Sutras, you have Brahma Sutra, you have Yoga Sutra, things like that. Then the Smriti came in to again make it simple to understand for everyone, which is what you have Manu Smriti. We have heard, most of us have heard that Manu Smriti, which is a guideline for life. Even then that was also had its own challenges, or to simplify, then that's where Puranas came in. That's where you have Purana of Bhagavata, then Vishnu Purana, that Purana. A lot of Puranas came up, which is in the little more story form. So people can connect better. And again, even that, to simplify further, is where the Itihasa came. And that is where we have our epics of Ramayana and Mahabharata. So they are the completely story and connecting to our real life situations rather than any of the theories. Right? So you connect better with that Itihasas. Then to all this, then came the Bhashyas, which is nothing but the commentaries. So a lot of people started writing commentaries about all these, whether on Vedas or Sutras, because to simplify, to connect to our small context we all have. So there are numerous bhashas and there are sub-commentary. Many people have written, whether it's a Max Muller is a Bhashyakara because he's written on the Adi Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya. And there are many Bhashyakaras, we call them commentators. They've written the commentaries to help us understand in a simpler way. So this is in short, little architecture of our scriptures. Then a sample. This is not an exhaustive list. So where is what? Or what is where is what? So you have, of course, Bhagavad Gita, which helps in day-to-day situations and leadership. You can refer all kinds of leadership challenges, you will find an answer there. Or you have the Panchadashi, which understands human behaviors. We are all HR people, that's a good reference to understand human behaviors. And we have Tattva Bodha, it is all about knowing ourselves. And then Upanishads is all about, again, self. It's a pure guide. And it's no order. I have not mentioned in any specific order, but kind of simplify and specific. Taittiriya Upanishad talks about the 5 layers of personality, that is Panchakosha. We have heard, you have a physical sheath layer, then the bread layer, that 5 layers, Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, and Ananda Kosha, the blissful layer. So those 5 layers, it's given so detailed for us to understand how we can grow, understand and grow. Then you have Subhashitas, that's a beautiful short 2-liner, 4-liners, which acts as a reminder and a little learnings to remind our values, ethics, behaviors. Every day that quote we say, 1 quote per day. So I've been sharing many such Subhashitas on my social media till now. Done 100 plus or even more Subhashitas connecting to life management and leadership. So whoever is interested in, go back and take a look at it. Then you have Panchatantra, that is a story form. As kids, I'm sure we've heard many stories. Maybe we don't know the references from Panchatantra. Even now, I'm sure we use a lot of such stories. And I'm sure many of us heard of Chanakya Niti, which is all about every guidance of how one has to rule. Then Yoga Sutra is not just how to make the yoga is just not the physical asanas. It's much more about everything about the life. So Patanjali Yoga Sutra is very popular to understand the life, and again, all aspects of life we can bring in. We can derive learning from Yoga Sutra as well. So just a sample. It's an exhaustive list, and I don't think even I am whatever competent enough to bring in all of them, but just thought simple samples which I have referred. Now let's get into the specific examples of how we can derive the learning. And so we learned why and then what in a very small peek. Now the few of the examples which I have learned and connecting to our day-to-day, both professional and personal life. So I'll be sharing some of them. Shubha, if there are any questions or things like that, just let me know. I will try to keep.
Yeah, there is. So I've just told them to save it to the last.
Yeah.
We'll have a quick Q&A. Quickly we will go through.
Exactly. So this, as I said, I was sharing some of these Subhashitas and source and what is the learning. So I've just taken as it is what I've shared on my social media. So this was on a Teacher's Day. You want to give credit. And of course, I do respect Dr. Kalam the most. I had the opportunity. So this is a Swadhyaya Pravachanabhyam na pramaditavyam from Taittiriya Upanishad, which means never neglect. So the importance of learning and teaching goes hand in hand. They are not saying you should continue. You should never neglect or you should never stop. That is the significance it's given. And we all know teaching is the best way of learning. When you want to teach, you will ensure you'll learn faster. So it connects back to our learning pyramid. If you say which is impactful more, teaching is the topmost, where 90% impact of learning is while you teach. So any profession, be it who you are, all of us have to always keep learning and sharing, teaching. It's not necessarily in a formal teacher role or a trainer role, but we can always share our knowledge with others. So that has to be a continuous process. So that's always a good reminder for us. Next is, this is, I really believe in this. and most of leaders are here. As leaders, this is very relevant for us. Naksharam mantra rahitam, namulam na aushadham, ayogya purusham nasti, yojakas tatra durlabaha. Which means every letter, if in our Indian context, every letter becomes a mantra. Mantra means it is significant in the context of what you. Every letter has its significance and it is useful. And every every root plant is always has a medicinal value. We might not know, but all of them do have. Like that, they say no human being is useless. No human being is useless. As leaders, just because we are not able to see one side of learning, what in them, but can we look at and see what are they good at, and probably that is where realigning their roles or to aligning them to different functions, etc. As HR people, I think that's important to remember. All of them will have something or the other. So this is this is another big learning, as I said, samples. So, and it is applicable to us also, not just to others, by the way. Sometimes we don't even realize what our potential is. Not sometimes, most of the time. And we don't perform to our potential. Something we are not good at, we are all the time bothered about, I'm not good at that. And looking at what are, focus on our strength and on weakness is again another message for ourselves and for others. And this is, this is about the goal is achieved only through intensive practice. There is no alternative to this. Right? This is what the Yoga Sutra says. It's just not about asanas. This is from Patanjali Yoga Sutra. It very, very clearly talks about how important that we practice. It's like practice makes man perfect. We have heard that, but this is even more deeper. I'm just giving a bird's eye view and not in depth. But it talks more in depth. Each sutra is so powerful in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. I mean, thanks to all my mentors and gurus. If I start listing, it becomes a huge list. So this is another one. Many people, while eating food, they have a fight or think about something you're not okay, or watch something. Most of us, many people while eating watch something. And what you're watching could be a very, a criminal scene or a fighting scene, lot of things. But you know what it is an input. Food is an input to our body. What goes in comes out, all of us know very well. So any input, can we be aware? Because we are what we eat, think every day. We are the product of our daily behaviors, if I can say. So can we be more watchful of what I'm doing, when I'm doing? We do a lot of things with lack of awareness. We don't even realize, oh yeah, actually I'm eating food. I need to focus on food because it's an input rather than watching something, crime story while eating the food. It just doesn't go well. So when we do what, right? So yadannam bhakshayet nityam jayate tadrishi praja. This is from Chanakya Niti. Again, I've given the source. None of it I have created. I've only picked up. I think this is very important for us as HR professionals and leaders. As parents as well. We play parental role in leadership, leader role in parents both. When I say parents, not just biological, but the parental role, we play both, right? People learn from our behaviors and what we tell them. And if we go back to our childhood, many things parents have told us do this, we haven't. Some things they've never said, but we have picked it up because we have seen them doing it. Observation and learning. And so as leaders, when we call role model, what we say, yadyadacharati shreshtaha tatta devetharo janaha. That means whatever noble people engage in, the rest of the world follows. So whatever they set as an example is imitated by all. And somewhere these profession like trainers, teachers, leaders, it's a sticky role. It's not constrained to the 9 to 5 timing. It's a sticky role. Wherever your people do watch you, they watch you on social media, what kind of posts you share, when you do what, everything they observe us. So it's a very responsible role. So leadership, that's why my final word here is let's lead and influence responsibly. Whether you like it or not, you are an influencer by default now because of the roles we play. So let's do it responsibly. This is again from Bhagavad Gita. As I said, leadership, a lot of leadership lessons we can learn from there. So I'll move to the next. If I ask you from our Indian history back, what has been one of the very fascinating personality? Who's one of our fascinating personality?
Hanumanji. Hanumanji.
Hanumanji, right? Even as children, we love that personality or character you want to say. So while that is so good, Chota Hanuman, Chota Beams are all popular, even cartoons for kids to watch. And we have heard stories because for us, there was no TV back then. When my childhood, I'm talking, not for all of you. So what are those stories we can learn? It's so fascinating. So I went into that. Hanuman has some superpowers. It's a very simple translation, not a appropriate word. They're called siddhis. Siddhi means superpower in a smaller, in our English, if I can loosely translate. So here Ashta means 8 superpowers. So what were those 8 superpowers? If you remember, he can become very big, he can become very small. In the stories, right, when he had to cross the ocean, he became huge and big, and all that we've heard. It's very nice, it's very fascinating. But can we convert that into our context and see what we can learn? Right? That's something I have made an attempt. Again, these are all my learnings and my interpretations. It's a detailed module I've created, or a workshop rather. But here it is summary is what I'm sharing in this, in an hour of time, what we have. So anima means smallest of the smallest. So that means, can we be humble and simple? It's a detailed learning is there, but I'm just giving out, for example, Mahima, big. We don't need to become physically big now for the context of Hanuman to cross the ocean, but we all have big oceans to cross, and we need to grow big in our expanding our competencies, thinking big, beyond, broaden our horizon. So that is where it can be a reminder. This is always very powerful. Many times we feel, oh, somebody gives you a big task, your manager or somebody, immediately that, can I do that? Right? That question, I'm sure, whether somebody gives or we thought comes, when big vision comes, big dream comes, then immediately we think, will I be able to do it? So that's where that's that little Hanuman in each one of us. So in the context where somebody had to cross the ocean to go to Lanka to find Sita, they're all struggling who has to go. And that is the time the great mentor, Jambavan, he knows what is the potential of each his team member. So he comes to Hanuman and says, hey, buddy, come on, do it. You can do it. As usual, like all of us, the little Hanuman will say, no, me, I can't do that much. Then he really encourages us and helps him to understand the potential inside, Jambavan, and says, go. Then yes, Hanuman decides to go. And he goes and stands in front of the ocean, the huge ocean. So when I'm narrating this story, I would prefer that. Okay, so he goes and stands in front of the ocean. And he looks at the ocean, everywhere is water, 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 huge, right? Beyond our vision. And he looks at himself saying, I'm small. The ocean is huge. What can I do? That's where he expands himself. Yes, maybe you can't do that in the current competence, knowledge, circumstance I am in. But is it possible? Yes. When we expand, then we could cross the ocean. I'm sure we all can do that as well. Whether we may not want to physically cross the ocean, but I'm sure there are huge ocean in front of us with all our big dreams in life. Yes, absolutely. We have to cross through our thoughts and thinking big. As I said, thought comes in, but we just, I don't think I can do that because I don't have this, because I don't have that. I haven't done this. We come from limitation and operate. No, we don't have to. Let's think big. Today, why most of the big organizations have been successful, or individuals who have been successful, because of their big vision. And same is GHRC now. Ranjan, Nathan, and Shrikant have started this with big vision. And slowly things will fall in place. I'm sure efforts are there, but can't say, why can't we do it? Why not? So that this particular thing is very, for me personally, very inspiring. That's exactly what I'm sharing. And nice to see comments, yes, people are able to connect. So I'm not going to go into all of them, but just shared one of it like that, you can go into all that. Somebody who's familiar with Hanuman Chalisa, you would have heard Ashta Siddhi Navanidhi Ke Dhata. So that is this Ashta Siddhi. There are other 8 set of Ashta Siddhis that also in the detailed we can do probably some other time. We'll go into one of the areas and do it. Today is more a generic approach. Now I'm going to get into one area I've picked up regarding conflict management. Okay. So if you want to do it, this is what I use. I'm going to show a video. It is a scene from Ramayan. As I said, I want all of us to look at it as a story, not bring any religion, God, nothing. I'm looking at characters and story at this point of time. So I would like all of you to carefully watch, and then we'll have a little discussion. Yeah, would that interest all of us? Watching and then discussing on it. Beautiful.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay, let's discuss a quick discussion here. I'd like as many as to participate in the discussion now. You can unmute everyone, Ritika. Give the permission for everyone.
They can unmute.
They can? Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
See this little, for those of you who do not know the story of this, I'm going to quickly tell the story. This is the context of Vali and Sugriv, part of the story Ramayan. Vali and Sugriv were the brothers. They were the brothers of Kishkinda. There was some time, so this scene, what we see is Vali and Sugriva, the brothers, fight. And in the fight, Vali loses because Rama kills him from the back. Not in the front, but behind the tree. From there, he kills Vali. This is the scene of this. So now, let's have a discussion. Was this right or wrong? Just keeping, let's not, that's why I say don't bring any other.
Right or wrong is a person of perspective. So you have to first define what perspective you're looking for.
Define it. I want each one to, share from whatever your perspective you think is right or wrong. That's exactly what I'm saying. Not as a conclusion, but your perspective.
As a person, if it is a battle between two, and it was a battle between two, generally third person interfering, unless until things have gone beyond control, is definitely not right.
Okay.
So that's one perspective.
Thanks for sharing. Others?
As an extension of what was said, probably even if there has to be a third person to intervene, that could have been done in a straightforward manner rather than hiding behind the scene and attacking someone.
Sure.
So,
Others?
Hi, Srividya. Sorry, can I speak?
Yes, please. Ritika, can you unspotlight me so that we can go on a gallery mode? We can see everyone in this.
Yes.
I was saying that, the fight between Sugriv and Bali is like a level playing field, and Lord Rama comes in from the background and shoots him. I think there's some disruption happening, and I agree with the earlier gentleman saying that that should not have happened. But I'm sure there are reasons why Lord Rama has killed him. But I think there's been some disruption. There is also a level of deceit, killing him without him knowing where the arrow is coming from.
Right. Any other views?
I would like to share. I would like to share. Can I?
Yes, Sunil. Sunil Aranand, one of you go ahead.
No.
Yes, go ahead.
What I find is that Rama should have called Vali also, since you think it is a conflict resolution. He only promised Sugriv and he went by one side only. Had he taken Vali also for that conflict resolution, Ramayana would not have gone that far away.
Okay. Yes, Sunil.
Hey, hi. I keep looking at this story time and again. I kind of relate to what happens in the corporate world. I belong to the IT world, where every quarter or half yearly or yearly there are performance reviews. So it is common that the people managers are just looking at what is happening in front of them. What is
Obvious. What is obvious?
Yeah. They oftentimes do not make an effort to understand what would have happened, what would have led to this situation, or what would have led to this current ongoing, right? Even in this, even in the clip that you have showed, there is obviously a backstory. Why Sugriv has to take assistance of someone else to beat his brother? What had happened to Sugriv's wife? And there is a lot of backstory, right? So I kind of relate this to the performance reviews which happen, where the people managers more often just see what is transpiring in front of them and may not make an effort to understand what had happened throughout the year, what has led to whatever is unfolding in recent times. That's how I see it.
Thanks, Sunil. Thanks, sharing for your perspective. Yes, Vikram, go ahead.
Vikram.
Namaskar, Srividya. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
And my perspective is quite, in the relevance of what Sunil mentioned, in the sense that in my humble opinion, that when you're looking at conflict management, there are three perspectives. The two sides that you hear and the truth.
Yes.
And the truth is what one has to, a leader has to kind of understand. And the truth has many dimensions. So those dimensions cannot be viewed from emotions and personal views and perspectives. It has to be more from the perspective of what is the truth.
Yes.
And if one was to provide justice or an opinion, then it has to be purely based on the truth and not about who's right or who's your favorite or what do you think, or if you were in that position, what would I have done? None of those things matter. So that is my perspective.
Thanks, Vikram. Thanks. Yes, Rajan ji.
Excellent, Vikram. You really put it out nicely.
Thank you.
Yes, Rajan ji, go ahead.
In Dwapar Yuga, of course, the rules were very clear. For example, it is written in Mahabharata that Shate Shatyam Samacharet. If your enemy is crooked, you need not be straightforward. So that was very amply made clear by Krishna. But why did it happen at the time of that Treta Yuga? That is a question which has always come up. And of course, there are political overtones and other things. But the only thing is, as my previous speaker said, there are backstories. And there is a history of a lot of injustice. And injustice, of course, it is a relative perspective. For example, there is a story that a tiger was trying to hunt a deer, and deer prayed God, and God saved deer. So tiger said, it's an injustice to me.
It's my food.
It's my food. By saving that, you are being unjust. So justice and injustice depends on which side you are, essentially. And if you go into history and the way his wife was taken away and all those things happened, he had to depend on outside this thing. Now, question is why it was done from the backside.
I'll answer at the end for all the questions, but just want to hear different perspectives. In fact, I don't have to answer. Rama has answered to Vali. he himself,
Oh,
Wali asked that question and Rama has answered to that question
well,
also.
you're the best judge. I'll
Yes,
wait for your
Satish,
answer.
your hand is up. So one more last person. Let's
Yeah,
hear Satish's view.
thanks.
Yeah.
Rajan mostly has touched upon also a few points which I wanted to talk. But yeah, again, the whole clip was around, restoring of the dharma actually. And one of the aspects, I think someone also asked, I think you are probably going to answer also. What I heard one version was why Rama would have straightforwardly come and attacked actually. Like there's also one version which I have heard where, Bali himself had done all this kind of adharmic activities. And one of these powers, what he had was he could get almost half of the powers of his enemy. If Rama would have come in front of him, then it would have turned against him itself. Bali was all about a classic example of adharmic, activities and the way how he has harnessed the powers. So something which happened was to restore the dharma, and it was done in a way it had to be done actually.
Thanks, Satish, for sharing that. So in the interest of time, I'm going to quickly summarize. So the same thing Vali asked Rama, you're supposed to be the right person, you're a righteous person, you follow dharma. How could you kill me? And how could you kill me was the question. And people say, no, why should somebody interfere? All these answers. So there's a lot of history before this clip, what we see. There's so much. I know the brothers fight and how they got cheated. They cheated each other, not because intention, because of somebody else, the third party. There was a Rakshas who came and who wanted to defeat. So there's a lot. I'm not going to go into the detail of the story. So there's so much of context behind. Do this. So then Rama also says, you did adharma. How could you take your your brother's wife? How could you do that? So he says, we are animals. For us, there is no difference. So Rama says, do you agree you're an animal? He says, if you think you're an animal, I'm a Kshatriya and I can always hunt the animal. I have the right to do that. That's one part of it, one answer and context of what. Then finally, Rama says, why did I intervene? Is I am not just a king, I'm a Chakravarti. As an emperor, it's my duty to ensure whoever reaches out to me for help, and when I know there is adharma, I have to ensure I address that. I have to sort it out. And it's not that he just suddenly interfered. He tried sending someone to talk to Wali and say, come, let's have a discussion face to face to resolve the conflict. Let's have a mediation meeting. All that he tried. After all that, nothing worked. If he had tried this method, maybe, but after trying all those things, and finally, he has to resolve to this particular method. And it was a strategy, as Satish said. He had the big boon that anybody comes in front of him, 50% of their power comes to him. So everybody will become powerless in front of him. And it was, logically to say Kshatriya versus animal. And finally to dharma, there are a lot of background stories. So what I wanted to say here is what we see is always the iceberg at the top, right? When we have to resolve the conflict, it's only the iceberg, but there is so much behind it. So can we be aware that whatever is the context, as many of you mentioned, look at it objectively. What are the different data? What are the factors? What has happened in the past? What were the impacts? All that has to be considered before we take a decision. And this is all I wanted to bring in as a lesson from this. This is my learning that, not go by what you see, but go deeper and collect all possible data, information before you get into a conflict resolution or problem solving or decision making also. So this was a very good reminder to understand the context first, then look at the situation. I hope that answers many of the questions. In short, go and read more if you want to, in the interest of time.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to just run through. This is another one I've learned from the Bhagavad Gita, which talks about Shreyas, which means absolute good. This good is not enough. It has to be absolute good. This is a quality character compass, what I call. We have to look at what is good for us and what is not good for us, what it feels good. For example, something it feels good, but it may not be good for us. It could be any habit which is not good for our health. I don't want to categorize saying which is good, but something which is not good for our health, but we still eat, drink, or do whatever which is not good. And it definitely not, but it feels good, right? Eating something or consuming something which feels good, but it may not be good for us. So in our routine, which one do we use the most? So the absolute good is something which serves the greater good, not just you, how you feel. It should be good for you. You may not feel good, but it should be good for you. It should be good for others, people around, and it should serve the larger good. So every action before we take, if you can think of how this action is going to serve the larger good, greater good, I think that will help us to know what we should do or not. Because a lot of today contemplation, the confusion of what we need to do in life, which is good, which is not good, what appears and what actually not. So this is some of the very brilliant lessons. Next, I'm going to introduce a topic called Nayati, which is entire process of mentoring. How do you enhance through an Indic wisdom called Nyayas? Nyayas matlab maxims. Every language has maxims. So what is maxim? I'm sure we've heard many maxims. Most common, all of us would have heard, don't be a frog in a well. It's very commonly heard maxim, right? So using such maxims, how can we enhance the process of mentoring? I'm going to just give a glimpses of it. So first, how do you actually find who should be a mentor? That itself is a big question, right? Whom do we choose? So there is an answer to that. Somebody whose their value should be helpful. It should be part of their value system. And they should be interested in my growth, me specific, not in general. And they should be available in terms of accessibility and time. A lot of people have great knowledge, but may not be helpful as their value, or they may not be interested in me specifically or the time. So it's all about, and beyond that, you should feel connected with the mentor. Then, you should feel that, yes, this person I want to choose as a mentor. It's just not to choose who's a mentor, but who should be a mentee for the others. We have both mentors and mentees in this group because all of us play that dual role. So who should be mentee? Again, these are very specifically mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. First is recognition of there is a problem. I need to recognize that I have a problem. That's a first. Second is acknowledge that I need help. I can't do it myself. I need help. Third step is either you seek or surrender. Surrender is a very deeper, but at least we have to seek. So while Krishna was a great mentor to Arjuna, both of them knew each other for many, many years. Why did Krishna did not teach the Bhagavad Gita earlier? Why he waited? He waited for Arjuna to recognize that he has a problem and he should be ready. So ultimately, I call it the readiness. If the mentee should be ready to receive, otherwise, no matter what the mentor keeps doing. Like this, the whole approach. So this one quick thing is mentoring approaches. There is called Marjala Kishora Nyaya and Markata Kishora Nyaya, as you see on the image here. So these are the one or two. There are many other approaches, but it should be a cat approach or a monkey approach. Who's a mentee, who's a mentor, what approach? The conflict or the challenge comes in when mentor is approaching as a cat and mentee thinks it's a monkey, or vice versa. Then that's why the mentoring doesn't work. In many organizations, mentor process is very well set in terms of frameworks, templates, process, but it is still not very effective. One of the reasons could be the approach, what they're following, mentor things like this, mentee things like this, and that could be one of the bigger reasons for it. So I've developed this entire mentoring module itself, the program completely, how to make it, enhance with multiple animal behavior-based nyayas, that is maxims, all completely animal. So this is a detail of that cat approach, what will happen, what level, is it a micro level, macro level, short term, long term, all that advantages, disadvantages, like that, I've developed a whole module on the mentoring as such. Now, in leadership, this is again personal inspiration for me, and the context came in through a client. Satish, your hand is up. I assume it's earlier one. Otherwise, I'll finish this and come back to Q&A. If you still have, hold on to the questions, please.
No. I think it's the older one only.
You can lower your hand, and thank you so much. Thank you so much. So this is called 7-star leadership. Why have I called it 7-star leadership? Star is star in the sky. As we all know, it's a star in the sky. And somebody on mute, please. Ritika, mute Anju.
Anju, could you mute yourself?
Ritika, please mute. Thank you.
Thank you, Anju.
So sevens, why? Because there are the stars in the sky. There are the 7 stars in the sky. So whom else, if somebody can become a star in the sky, whom else do we learn that from? Why not from them or whom else? So these are the 7 stars, or we call them Sapta Rishis. What did it take them to become a star in the sky? Then while so many rishis were there, and they are called the, and again, I'm trying to give all the picture credits. This is a disclaimer where I could not find the original person. I tried to write to them, but that image is beautiful. I've just given that whatever that, Mrinal Rai. So if somebody can connect me, I'd like to probably legally with licensed version of this image, because it's a very, very powerful image. They're naturally the most evolved light beings. Okay. And they, in English, you call them Ursa Major or the Big Dipper. They're in the sky. In fact, what believe is whenever there is a need, they come to the earth to address the challenges or bring the required energy, what one needs, the earth needs. So this is how they are in the sky in this shape. Again, thanks to one of somebody who helped me, an astronomer and an astrologer, helped me to come up with this image. So these are the names, and you have English names as well, the Big Dipper or Ursa Major. So these are the rishis who are there, and we also have, women leader there, which I'll come to that later. So focus on the predominant qualities of the Saptarishis and what is it we can learn from them, specifically leadership lessons. So this is again a summary. These are the 7 rishis: Atri, Vasishta, Kashyapa, Gautama, Bharadwaja, Vishwamitra, Jamadagni. And we also have a women leader along with Vasishta. And if I loosely can connect, this today's we call in the organizations, or there is board of directors, board of advisors, whatever the board. So these rishis, supposed to be Sapta Rishis, acted like a board to help gods run the universe. I'm using all this so that we can connect what we are trying to say. So that is, and today, right, every corporate should have a one women leader. We already had at that time itself. These are the few leadership lessons I have derived from their stories. As I said, it's a one full day workshop, to talk about this, and it is story-based exercises, activities, frameworks, everything, and all this connect to how we can work in today's world. These are the few, very few, and the key leadership lessons, what we can learn from these rishis. It's very, and I have, for me, again, reference for this is a book called Mahabramana, where it's story of lot of about Vishwamitra, and definitely I'm deeply inspired. Based from that, I've derived all this. So focus will be a lot on 1 or 2 rishis, while bring some lessons of other rishis as well. I think it's an hour since we started what was given to me. So we are at, so these are the few key learnings from that Saptarishis stories or module is, how anger can lead to the growth. How do you convert your anger to growth? How do you think big and beyond think big? How do you focus and handle the distractions, which is very relevant for all of us, I guess. How do you make a competition a role model? Right? Instead of competing with somebody, can you make them your role model? How it's important a continuous learning, acquiring new knowledge and technology. I think somebody is trying to draw on my screen, maybe a little child around must be doing, but it's okay. And the importance of seeking help or having a mentor. So all these and more learnings in that workshop. With this, I'm going to stop. This is a little details about me. But with this, I take opportunity to thank all of everyone, GHRC and the team, and all of you joining on a Saturday morning. Thank you so much. Hope it was useful. And now floor is open for question and answers.
Yeah. The floor is open for questions. If there are any questions, do post it to Srividya.
I would like to tell one thing. In the conflict resolution which has been shared by Madam, another great thing happened in Ramayana by Lord Rama, Vali and Angad. After Vali was hit by the arrow, he handed over his son Angad, crown prince, to Lord Rama. And Rama had a full faith in Angad, and he brought him like his child. So this is a 100% resolution of conflict resolution, which we can be attributed to Indian philosophy alike. So,
Angad was Wali's son, not Sugriev's son.
Rama had 100% faith in Angad, and Angad also displayed no enmity towards Rama.
Absolutely.
I have one request and one question, Srividya.
Yes.
The request
and
is
as many of you to come on video because it's a discussion. It'll be nice. Whoever possible, please do that.
today
Please
it's not possible. I'm sorry about it.
No worries.
Okay. See, one request is that can you put the second last slide, which you changed very quickly, which was about yourself, just for us to grasp through. That is one request. You are trying to be humble, but we would like to see that a little bit more.
Yes.
Yeah. And one question which I had was regarding when you talked about good and something like a greater good or something like that.
Yes, absolutely.
So that I have not at all understood totally. So can you just put across that slide and explain a little bit in detail as to what was that? And because you went it too fast, I couldn't understand it in a proper way.
We'll come to that. Yes. Let me take us first small example. First level is it feels good. Okay. It feels good. Like when you learn something, like attending a session like this, if assuming you liked and you learned something, it definitely feels good. And is it good for you? Of course, it is good for you because you learned something. Is it good for others? Yes. When we learn, we grow. When we grow, of course, we contribute and there is a cascading effect. Right? When you learn, I'm sure you will share with somebody, they will grow like that. It goes and it serves a greater good. Yes. Let's take a second example. It does not feel good. Like, getting up early morning and exercising may not feel good. I mean, I'm not saying for all others, as an example, I may not feel good about it to get up and exercise, but it is good for me, of course. Or taking medication because of health challenges, is it good for me? Of course. And if I'm healthy, I can take care of the people around, so it will be good for others. And if all of us are healthy, I'm sure it contributes to the greater good. Right? So all the stakeholders. Then the third level, it feels good, but it's not good for you. I explained, something which you any unhealthy practices, habits, which while doing, we like it, we enjoy it, but we know it's not good for you. Maybe I'm trying to be very careful in choosing the words here. So anything which is unhealthy, well, it's not good for you. And if it is not good for you, it definitely not good for the people around, and it will not serve the greater good. The last one, it does not feel good again, but it's not good for you also. Maybe, going late, missing a deadline, telling a lie, things like that. It doesn't feel good for us, right? And definitely it is not good for us. If it is not good, if I miss a project deadline, it will impact my entire team or whatever. So it doesn't serve others and it doesn't serve the organization. We are all cascading in, right? See, if I say, if I grow, I am sure I will contribute to the growth of my family or my organization. In turn, if you keep saying it will all go to the world, nation, and today it's globally. So we have to be very careful in every action we take. Ask these 4 questions. And first question, even if it does not feel good, it's okay. But the next 3 questions we should ask and then decide our actions responsibly.
Good. Thank you very much. possibly quality of life, character compass, if you put an arrow below that, it will clear, because I was not sure whether it is vertical or horizontal. Even though color codification is done, you have
Sure.
made an effort, but thank you.
I'll take that point, feedback. Thank you for that. Yes, Srini, your hand is up.
Yeah, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for the wonderful session. I just want to add my perspective on the Rama's episode while killing Wali. So Rama had an it's all in the ultimate goal of protecting the righteousness dharma, right? So we all know Rama Vigraha Dharma, right? So Rama had an option to kill Ravana because Wali himself has offered, why are you going to Sugriva? You could take my help. I can bring Ravana onto your feet. But Rama did not heed to that request, knowing fully well that Wali himself is not following the righteous way. So he did not took the help. Having said that, he while killing, he went behind and killed Wali. So then Wali started asking, is it the way you are known for the protecting righteousness, but how can you deviate this process? Then he said, so the process of dharma also depends on the context and the time which you are doing. So it's not that there is a one-stop solution for everything. And that's why he said you are not entitled to ask this question is what Rama said. And it also holds good for if you come to Mahabharata. Lord Krishna also did, trying to put Sudarshan Chakra to kill Saindava, right? To do that. So the point I'm trying to say is you can take a little bent of while following the righteousness, if as long as your ultimate goal is to protect the dharma, is my perspective.
Thanks for your question. I think for me the purpose why I chose that is it's important to understand the context completely, collect all the data points before we come into any conclusion. That was the purpose what I was trying to share. Thank you, Srini. Yes, anyone else? Anything to share? You can share or ask me anything. The floor is open. I'm also sharing my coordinates on the
Sinchana has asked a question, I think.
Okay. Yes.
Sinchana.
Yes, Sinchana's question. Before that also, there's another question by Rajeshri, I guess.
Yeah.
Will a mentor find the mentee and help the person, or will a mentee has to find a mentor? Okay. Yeah. If you're very lucky, if I can answer quickly, a mentor can find you. But if you want, you need to seek. If I want, I need to seek a mentor, right? Rather than sitting and waiting for the mentor. There's also a saying, when the student is ready, the guru arrives. When the mentor is ready, that's what happened to me. I was looking for a mentor. I felt, I want somebody to mentor me. And the moment I decided, then what happens? I started meeting people. And of course, I found many mentors. I have many, many great mentors. But we have to seek. If it is my need, I need to seek, right? Anything with the help or whatever, rather than saying who should do. There is no rule that who should do. But I would only answer, if you need to seek. There's one more in the chat box. Yeah. Rajeshri, hope you heard me.
Sinchana's question is also there, I think. No?
Yeah, I'm reading.
She's asked a question about preaching.
I'm right. I'm just reading that. The preaching from Bhagavad Gita, karmanyeva adhikaraste, okay, that which means to work you have to put, but not the fruit. How does this preaching be a good guide towards leadership? See, this interpretation of that is always very confusing sometimes for some people. Let's take a simple example. Right now, we are doing the session. Okay. What do I need to do? I need to ensure I have the power, I have the internet connectivity, and I'm available, ensure whatever. And same thing from the team GHRC. You have to ensure the checklist. We all do that, correct? All the checklist is done, everything is done. And I told Shubha in the beginning saying, in case if I log out, don't worry, I have an alternative backup. So it might be I just have to reload. I have to do all that. Let's say beyond all this, because of the rain, the completely power goes, your backup, your whatever UPS goes, everything goes. What can you do? You can't do much at that point of time. But have I kept an alternative? Have I done all the things I can do rather than worrying? So, this is what I say. It's not that you shouldn't worry about the results, but be prepared. Okay. Say if power goes, what is plan A, B, C? So as a leader, it's so important we do all this. And beyond that, if things go out of my control, which is not my control, I can't do anything. Can I gracefully accept that and again see what else can be done? This is what I will take as a leader. Let's say I invest in my team member, right, as a leader, or I invest in a project or an assignment. I do all that I can do, but it does not give me the result of what I want. That's possible. In that time, how do I handle that? How do I start finding the alternative? What else can be done should be the approach in the context of what you're asking. I'm not sure is this what you are expecting or something else? Sinchana, let me know.
No, it was a great one. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Have I missed any other questions, Shubha? The beginning.
No, I think, yeah, we are done with the questions.
Right. In the beginning, I don't know if there was one.
Mr. Vivek, yeah, he was asking you, where does one second. Where does Panchatantra stand? There was a slide that he had posted. So based on that.
Where does it stand? In what context? I didn't understand.
Yeah, that's the only thing that is written there.
Yes, Vivek, what do you mean by where does it stand?
Yeah, Vivek.
No, I didn't get you. Can you please repeat?
The question you have asked is, where does Panchatantra stand?
No, that was the question which was answered in the subsequent slide.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's fine.
Okay.
But I have another question. You
Yes,
said
please.
that mentoring and Arjuna really, Krishna did it only to Arjuna, mentored him when he was ready. That is not true. For the reason that Arjuna was continuously talking and questioning Krishna all throughout till he showed his Vishwarup Darshan.
Correct.
And only when he showed his Vishwarup Darshan, then the defiance part of Arjuna stopped. And that is the time when the curiosity part took over, and then the mentor-mentee relationship possibly flourished, is my opinion. What do you think about it? Because it is not always that mentee is ready, mentor is ready. You have to make mentee ready.
Beautiful.
Mentee will never be ready.
I wouldn't say they will never be ready.
I agree. It is extended. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I extended it too much.
Yes. So your answer is perfectly right. As I said, a true mentor, if a true mentor, I'm saying will make the mentee ready, but they will not say, come, I will mentor you.
Yeah, that is true.
That's what I was saying, whether mentor makes the mentee ready or mentee get ready by themselves, but only when there is a readiness, the mentoring works.
Absorption happens. Otherwise, knowledge absorption doesn't happen. And it is a job of a mentor to make mentee ready. It is, because otherwise, I enter into a contract with him, I pay him something, but if he doesn't make me ready to my level of understanding, or vice versa, it is waste of money and time.
Correct.
So that skill has to be there with the mentor by asking the right questions, appropriate ways to make him realize the need.
Perfect.
Because as per the Kubler-Ross curve, the change only happens when somebody is confronted and shaken.
Exactly.
Not before that.
Exactly.
Vivek, I have a small perspective. See, while mentor might make all efforts to generate the interest and share the knowledge and what is the best and the benevolent for the mentee, but the initial interest has to come through the mentee, because you can take a duck to the lake, but you cannot make it drink, right? So that has to come. Somebody has to find the need that I want to grow.
There is no somebody. It is if you are in a relationship of a mentor and mentee, or a consultant and a consultee, you have to make it that happen. You have to make him thirsty. If horse is refusing to drink water, ride on him till he's absolutely tired, and then he take him to the river, he will drink. You can't sit back and say, oh, this is what happened. No, it's, sorry for using the word, but it's the job of the mentor to make him true. If he's not thirsty, make him run. Ride on him. So he becomes thirsty. Sorry for being a little harsh,
No,
but that's the
that's
fact of
fine,
life.
Vivek.
No,
I
these are the
agree.
different perspectives. Again,
Yeah.
we can't say which is the right or which is
Correct.
wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are
And
different
also with
perspectives.
changing times, we have to make note of that as well. So we have to be.
And the context, how important
Correct.
it is.
Correct. Yeah.
Again, it is how important it is in the context. All
Absolutely.
that has to be considered.
I'm
rather
only
than-
talking about in a professional relationship where there is a already agreement done. That you have taken a contract, you are consulting, or you have taken a mentor or a mentee, then you can't keep on lying back and say, no, he's not listening. Done.
That excuse
is,
can't
I
be
think
given.
that's a
true.
responsibility
Yeah.
of a
Exactly,
role
of
of
a
a mentor
mentor.
is what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
You're right.
Absolutely. That's
You're
the
right.
role of a mentor, yes. As
Very
a
true.
role of a mentor, yes. I think.
And as per the Kubler-Ross curve, the change only happens when somebody is shaken. And to shake him is the job of mentor. Otherwise, change doesn't happen.
In fact, in the mentoring approaches, I have all that different approaches, which is
Right.
appropriate in what context. And then, when mentor has to take the lead, when mentee has to take the lead, all that is there in the detail when we discuss. Meanwhile, yes, Satish, I see your hand up, but I will also answer another question.
There's one last question. Yeah. Rajalakshmi had sent.
Rajalakshmi. Okay. You're saying, but they seem to be very strict in their activities to the mentees and followers. Okay. Again, in the stories, we hear sometimes some part of the story and not the complete story. Right? And in the complete story, it's not that you have to follow them exactly whatever they did. Can we take the learnings of what is suitable for us, what is applicable for us? That's the approach I follow rather than saying, okay, we have heard, no, they'll all give us that shapa and, that curse. And I think that part of the story is also there. I'm not denying in the story. But today, that is not relevant for us. But can we go with the kind of work they've done? What are the things they've done? And in fact, wherever they've given the curse also, there has been behind some other purpose, larger purpose, which we are not able to see at that point of time. When you look at only this, then it looks like that. But most of them have worked well in the larger context. So let's focus on the side of the story. Because for me, it is completely, I approach from a learning perspective. So whether somebody is good, bad, all that is not correct, but learning can we take in that, then there's a beautiful perspectives, insights you get, and you get inspired also, you get influenced, all that can happen, Rajalakshmi, with the objective what you're saying. Hope that answers your question.
I think that's the last one.
Yeah, Satish has put his hand. Let's keep that as the last question.
Sir,
Yeah, sure.
Sir Bhavnara.
Yeah, thanks, Srividya. Since we are talking about the learning, and one of the interesting aspects of the Gita itself is whether Arjuna was ready or Krishna was coaching him. I think the whole context itself about Gita is a lot of question and answers, actually, which is the interesting aspect of it. It all shows about the whole coaching or mentoring was done in a way of question and answers. That's an interesting aspect, actually. Again, and Arjuna was never accepting anything, actually. So whether he was ready or not, towards the end, it shows that Krishna was able to convince him. But the way the coaching was done was in a very open way. It was done in a way where there was opportunity given to the other party to ask the questions, actually. So
in fact, most of our scriptures are in the yes, Satish, thank you for that. Most of our scriptures are in the Q&A form.
Form.
The Q&A form. Even at the end, Krishna doesn't decide. Arjuna says, forget all this, you tell me what should I do. He says, no, I'm not going to tell you. I've given you all the perspectives, context, everything I've given. You finally decide.
True. Yeah. That's the openness. Yeah.
That's openness in our actually scriptures is like that. It's very open. Most of our Upanishads are all in Q&A form.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, over to you, Shubha. Thank you so much for all of you. Such interesting questions.
That's a very, very interesting session, Srividya. And I was just wondering, there's so much of research already done. And, the way that we use them, to be more wiser in what decisions we take, what judgments we do, whether it's personal or professional, everything is already done there. So it's Vedas and Upanishads and so many other things from which we can grasp things like this. Wonderful. And it was such an enlightening session. I hope all our members also enjoyed it. We will be posting a video of this recorded session as well for people who missed them out, or, some people have asked for it, so we will be posting that as well. And I think we'll call it a day. We are right on time.
There's also, if you want to announce that we're going to have a very soon schedule of 7-star leadership.
Yes. Please go ahead, Srividya. You can explain about that.
I mean, that's what GHRC and I together, we will be organizing that a 1 full day workshop on that 7-star leadership, which I just gave a glimpses of it. Date is yet to decide, but very soon that is coming up for all of you to, register, come and be part of the learning journey.
Sure. So let's see at that session, and we will keep updating on our group and our portal as well. Okay, thank you everybody, and thanks for joining, and have a great and bright and brilliant and enlightened weekend.
Thank you.